Good evening, everyone. In today's session, my endeavor is going to discuss with you on the possibility of targeting the CAT 2016 exam, which probably will be in October, November this year. Whether you are a third year student of engineering, second year student of a degree college, final year student, or a person with more than a year or 2 or 3 years of experience also, very clearly writing the CAT exam to target towards a good MBA, especially the IIMs and other institutes, is a very positive step in your career. And my endeavor today would be to try to tell you whether it is a right step, and if it is one, how do you go about achieving that? Okay, that's going to be the whole purpose of this seminar. The agenda is very simple. I'm going to talk very briefly on why you want to do an MBA. Is MBA really that as good a thing as everybody talks about? We talk about CAT. We also talk about scores and percentiles. Lots of people have very right and or wrong notions about this exam called CAT. Everybody thinks it's the most difficult exam in the world, or at least in India. Many a time people come back and say it is not for normal people, so to say. I don't know what is abnormal in the first place. You need not be an IITN or an NITN to get into the IIMs. We'll see why it's actually easy to get into CAT itself in the first place with the kind of scores that I'll show you. That is what the agenda of getting into an IIM would be. Then we look at if once we establish that, okay, there is an aspiration, ambition to do the best and get into the best institutes. Obviously, idea is how do you get there? What kind of a preparation you need? And are these 6-8 months that is available more than sufficient for you to do that? That is going to be one part of my discussion. And last but not the least, I'm going to discuss whether VistaMind with our team that we have is a good partner for you to your successful career. Okay, that's going to be the agenda, friends. So let's look at why should one do an MBA in the first place. Unlike any other master's course, MBA is the most generalized course that anybody can take. That's one of the reasons why you can be a BA, BSc, BCA, BTech, BCom, BBA, MBBS, BPharm, doesn't matter what you are, any one of them can do an MBA. If you are a BCom, you do an MCom, and after you will have to do a CA kind of things or a CS. Once you go into that route, your route is blocked. You are a BTech, you do an MTech or an MS in the US, you can do a PhD, all right, but once you get into that route, and if you get into a software, non-software technical job, after a few years, your line is stuck forever, whether you like it or not. True with law, true with every other course that is there, not just in India, friends, but about any other course in the world. MBA, variously called PGDM, PGPM, PGDBM, etc. It's finally a 2-year management course, management degree or a diploma, is going to give you the flexibility that no other course can give you. More often than not, we pick up after 10th, because we were somewhere good in mathematics or science, we pick up sciences. Quite a lot of them pick up sciences. 11th and 12th, because you have picked up sciences, you pick up an engineering or a medical course in that sense. Some of them who are afraid of maths, they take up a humanities or arts and end up doing a BCom or a BA. Till you finish your degree, whether it is an engineering or non-engineering degree, there is precious little idea about what you want to do in life or what kind of jobs are available in the first place. That is one of the reasons why you'll be very surprised to know that more than 80-90% of the MBA students in the IIMs and other institutes are engineers. If they were so interested in engineering, why on earth are they not continuing? The reason is very simple. They weren't interested in engineering at the first place. They were interested in getting out of 12th, getting into something else, so that their supposed career will progress. So the decision that you take today, post your degree or after your degree, even if you're working for a couple of years also, you will realize that this decision to do an MBA can last for the next 35, 40 years. And that's one of the reasons why an MBA is considered completely different graduation than anything else. In fact, let me put it this way, while it's easily called a degree, etc., I think what you learn in an MBA, unlike in every other master's degree, is skill or skills. In every other master's program, you learn knowledge, you get knowledge, you become a technical expert, you become an accounting expert, you become a you become a law expert, etc. kind of things. But in an MBA, you don't become an expert in anything. You develop skills. Skills to manage, skills to understand business, skills to improve communication, skills to improve persuasion skills, skills to improve resource management. Believe me, the kind of jobs, the kind of rigorous curriculum that you will probably go to for 2 years is going to be completely different than you can think of. Before I go into more specifics, a couple of questions I'll tell you how MBA is different from all other courses. If you do an MTech, just about everybody who has done a BTech does an MTech. You do a MCA, almost everybody who has done a BCA does an MCA. Anybody who does an MCom has to do a BCom. Anybody who does an MA typically does a BA. Or for that matter, a person who has done a BA LLB can do an LLM, Masters of Law. Therefore, in the class that you are getting into, whether it is an MS, MB, MTech, MCom, MA, or whatever master's program that you get into, the people that you are going to be with are exactly from the similar kind of a background. Very, very similar background. There is a difference in terms of their 10th, 12th degree marks, maybe from different places of the country. Beyond that, there is very precious little that differentiates them in their outlook, their thinking, their knowledge. But when you go to an MBA school, you get people who are freshers. You get people with 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or even 5 years of experience. You get people with this experience from different fields, people in marketing, finance, accounts, operations, telecounseling, software, hardware, doesn't matter, wherever they come from. People come from engineering. Within engineering, they come from civil, mechanical, electrical, electronics, computer science, anything else. People come from BA, BCom, BSc, or BPharm for that matter. Look at a course that you are sitting with 100 students or 50 students or 200 students who come from various backgrounds and probably various countries also. In fact, in India, it is not that. If you look at the US, they restrict people from all the countries. They don't give more than 10%, especially European MBAs, they don't give more than 10% seats to one single country. The simple reason is the diversity. People, when they come with diversity, the reason is very obvious. MBA is business administration, business skills. You need to have all kinds of thoughts, all kinds of opinions coming in so that you can get the best opinion. The kind of projects, seminars, internships that you do, with the help of people, you will also learn team skills. If there is a team of 4, each one has a different skill. Whereas if you look at a software, almost everybody has the same skills. Maybe, okay, the skills are technical skills otherwise, a Java, a database, or a front end, but not thinking skills, managerial skills, kind of things. Whereas here what we're talking about is a completely different idea. So these 2 years of an MBA, friends, more than giving you a job that everybody looks at, more than giving you a better package, which is obviously going to happen, what it does is transform your thinking. Transform the way you will communicate with people. Transform the way you collaborate, coordinate with people. And that's the reason why probably you should do an MBA to start with. Add to that now the benefits. First, it is the most sector independent career. It is based on personal choice. You can shift jobs. We will talk about it, Pavitra. Just hold on for a few minutes. It's not one institute. There are at least 100 institutes which are good to do an MBA. Now the point is, can you get into the best? you will try getting to the best, obviously. We'll talk about those colleges too. Sector based on personal choice. You are, in fact, not only sector based on, you can call it growth potential. 10 years back, e-commerce was not there. Today, everybody gets into e-commerce. 15 years back, biotechnology was good. 20 years back, marketing was good. Hindustan Unilever, P&G, FMCGs were good. About the last few years, except before we got into the financial crisis, investment banks like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Lehman Brothers at that point of time used to be very, or private equity players used to take people. You can, depending on your strengths, of course, skills, of course, you can shift. Not knowledge, mind you, it is the skills that I'm talking about. And skills, like anything else, can be developed. And that's the reason why it is based on both personal choice and growth potential. So any changes, see, if you are a Java developer and tomorrow Java gets replaced, you will have to start all over again. But if you are an MBA, you don't have to, because whether it is a Java guy or tomorrow there is a Bava guy or whatever else it comes in, please understand that managing people is going to be the most difficult one any which way. And therefore, if you are interested in the sector, you can become very good in it, or it is sector independent, either which way. To a large extent, it's a career which can make you an entrepreneur. In fact, I know of a lot of Gujaratis and Marwadis who are entrepreneurs themselves. But today, when you see they're coming back to MBA, simply because not only it will give you the choice of being an entrepreneur, but also helps you scale up your businesses. If you are from that business family, you will realize that most of them in the 2 crores to 10 crore range. How do you make it 100 crores, 200 crores, 500 crores? It requires a vision. And an MBA curriculum and the kind of a structure that is what happens in the best schools will make you not only learn the entrepreneurial skills, but also make you run for the scale. Then of course, it's the most financially rewarding area, barring probably politics. And on an average, I'm saying, see, doctor, if you become a doctor and a specialist, you can make tons of money. But please understand, not every doctor makes tons of money. Similarly, you can become a lawyer. Ram Jetmalani or a Mahesh Jetmalani or somebody like that will make a lot of money. But not everybody makes money. There are lots of people who don't make money. Of course, now the laws also change. Lawyers or the law area also is changing to an extent. CA, not all CAs make money to a large extent. But let me assure you that if you are in the top 50 colleges or 100 colleges in the country, 100, not the top 3, top 5, it's pretty rewarding throughout your 35 years of life, 40 years of your career rather. Not only the initial salary, but the faster salary growth. One number I'll give you, which will be, job popping. If you are a software guy, if you do 15 years of work in a software company like Infosys, CTS, TCS, etc., and you continue to be in the software, you start with 3 lakhs and probably end up with 20 lakhs after 15 to 17 years. You are an MBA, you may start still with 3 to 5 lakhs. The lower level MBA I'm talking about. But in 15 years, in the same span, you can end up with 50 to 60 lakhs per annum of job. I'm not quoting out of the air. You look at any job portals, people, if you just manage saying that I have 15 years of MBA experience from not so great institute also, you will be getting the 30, 40 lakhs at least, if not 60 lakhs. If you're from the top IIMs, very clearly the average pay will be the number that I've quoted. And that's the reason why, if you are good in it and you can, if you have the aspiration, and of course aspiration is not enough, you need to take up the responsibility also, you have this faster growth that no other course in the world can give. It's a fast track career again. It's merit based growth. Yeah, there will be reservations. There are OBC reservations, SC, ST reservations to get into the best institutes, including the IIMs. But once you get out of it, there are no reservations. It's a completely merit-based growth track across the world and definitely in India too. And you can be a CEO by 45, 50 if you are ambitious. Even if you're not ambitious, you can be a CXO by the time you are 45, 50. And that's a very, very fast career. Very few people get it. And of course, India requires tons and tons of managers, friends. This is the best time to do an MBA. There is no doubt about it at all. In fact, the way I look at it, India is the only bright spot in the entire globe. The kind of growth that we are doing, it's only because of our business enterprise and entrepreneurship available. And with the kind of people that we have and the kind of growth that we can achieve, it's mind-boggling what we can achieve. I'll give you some small data. Those of you are listening carefully, listen to this. The US has only 33 odd crore people, 330 million, 33 crore people. And their average per capita is close to $50,000. We are 120 crore people. That's 4 times. And our per capita is less than $2,000. Please realize there is tremendous potential of growth if we really use it correctly. And I am, not only me, in fact, the entire industry is convinced that to a large extent, apart from technology that we need to grow, management skills are required in abundance. And of course, last but not the least, there is huge personal satisfaction when you do an MBA and then get into a management career, because everything that you take, every decision that you take, correct or wrong, whether it's successful or not successful, it finally comes back to haunt you. I think it is about taking your life in your hands and trying to do whatever you can, right? You can be a decision maker and of course lead people. That's one serious reason why one should look at an MBA, because it's not just career growth, not just financial, not just independent, but also great satisfaction. And as a serious aside to all these things, for a long-term view, the short-term view of the 2 years in an MBA, you get to meet the best people, both in your classmates, your friends, your industry, and probably make the best networks that's possible. And that's where I'm saying, guys, very few people understand this, but MBA probably is the right thing if you are ambitious, ready to take up responsibility, and are ready to put in that kind of effort towards getting there. Obviously, when I talk about an MBA, simple things come into picture is what are the common concerns that people have. Is it really possible that anybody can make it? Or for that matter, more importantly, are the MBA fees very, very high? You buy an apartment, let's say for 50 lakhs, you need to pay up the EMI for the so many years, 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever number of years you get. It's based on luck that this 50 lakhs worth of it can become 100 lakhs over 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. There are so many times the real estate actually crashed if there is too much of glut in the market. There is no guarantee that it will go. You have to be lucky that there is a highway going next to you, or there is an airport coming next to your house, etc. kind of things. But the MBA investment is probably the best investment that you can make, because it is the one-time investment and you're going to reap the benefit year after year after year for the next 30, 40 years of your career. Second, more importantly, the kind of education loans available. The government says that only 4 lakhs of loan is given without collateral. The reality is, if you get into the top 20 institutes, not even the IIMs, any of the top 20, 25 institutes, the banks will be ready to sign up with you and give you a loan without any collateral. Yeah, you might need a guarantor sign, which could be your dad's sign or any friend's sign, dad's friend's sign, but that doesn't mean they're going to hound them at all. Unlike maybe any other loans that you take up, personal loans and or business loans. That's the reason why education loans, especially for an MBA for the top 20 colleges, that's one of the reasons, Pavitra, if you have asked me which colleges, you need to try to get into the top 20, 25 colleges, ideally to top 5. And the return on investment in most of these colleges is fantastic. Next question which comes to people is, hey boss, do I need work experience? Lots of people say that after finishing degree, you should work for a year or 2 and then take up MBA, because then only it will be useful. Frankly, if you get into a TCS, CTS, I have nothing against them guys, but if you get into a CTS, TCS, Wipro, whatever that may be, you do testing, maintenance, support. What will you learn for 2 years that you can't learn in an MBA school? In fact, you will never even use this knowledge ever in your life again. I mean, trying to do some kind of unit testing or whiteboard testing, or for that matter, maintenance work, etc. Why should that be even important in the first place? It is important only if it mellows you down a little and gets your expectations a little more sober. That will happen if you go to a good business school, without any doubt about it. And here is where the important answer is. The requirement for work experience is an emphatic no. 23% of the students at IIM Ahmedabad of this year, last year that is, are freshers. 49% of them have work experience of less than 1 year. 49% is half. And if you look at less than 2 years, it is 73%. That's 3/4. And the only reason we have people with less than 1 year experience is because these guys would have returned the CAT exam the first time around, did not make it, joined a job after their degree or engineering, and then wrote it again and got through. Obviously, their interest was not the job. The interest was an MBA any which way, except that they were not probably lucky enough to get the first time around. Same thing with the 2 years plus also, less than 2 years plus also. Only when you look at 2 years plus at less than 25%, if you notice, or 26%, you are talking about that. I mean, why do you need even work experience? Definitely not in India, if not in the world as such. Please understand, if you are looking at the Europe or the US of the world, people do MBA after 28, 29, or even 30 years of age. In India, 29, 30 is like you're old. You should have got settled by then, you should have got married by then, etc. If you're a girl, I mean, 29 is like, wow, what is this? Even for a guy, there is a huge pressure to settle down, because you need to get married and get a daughter-in-law to your mother. So please understand that even the top, in fact, that's a brilliant question you asked, Sumit. Top private colleges, except probably SP Jain, which takes people with 2 years experience for IT and operations. For finance and marketing, it is the freshers completely. MDI Gurgaon has more than 50% freshers. You talk about NITI, NITI can't be a private engineering college. You talk about IMT Ghaziabad, you have more than 40-50% freshers. You talk about IMI Delhi, you talk about any institute, BIM Trichy, TAPME, name a college, you will find half of them are freshers. The reason is very simple. There are NITI, actually Sauvik is a government college in that sense of the word. So there are freshers, all right, but there are work experienced people also, because there's one reason why NITI specifically has some more people with experience. There are two basic programs that they have. That is PGDIM, which is industrial management, which is a supply chain management specialization, requires at least a year or two in production and or logistics as such. They also have a software management program, postgraduate diploma, which also requires at least a year or two, or at least to be a computer science, electronics, communication engineer kind of things. That's one of the reasons why there is a slightly higher percentage of work experienced people in NITI kind of an institute. Not true for any other institute. Then, there is, of course, if you have work experience, it is not bad. Please understand that it is not that you should not have work experience. If you have work experience, great. 5 to 10% is given weightage even by the IIMs and some of the institutes too. But then, having said this, please also realize that 5 to 10% can be overcome with your CAT score or any of the written test scores if you plan it correctly well. And a lot of these schools don't give any weightage. Self-obvious. I just talk to you, top B schools have significant freshers. Another question which lots of people ask me, especially if they are not from an IIT or people not for an IIM, is what are the real chances that I as a student have? The answer is, boss, much better than you can think of. The reason is very simple. Couple of things. One, As far as CAT is concerned, the number of people writing CAT has reduced over the last 7-8 years for whatever reasons. Typically, it's because of the economy, guys. From 2008 to 2014, the economy has been actually going down. Hence, people thought that doing an MBA did not make sense. That was a wrong thought, but then that's what people thought. That's what problematic in India. If you go back exactly the same 7 years, go to US and Europe, to get into that MBA school was difficult because they knew that things were going down. You needed better skills, more managerial skills, and hence people enrolled into MBA. India, very unfortunately, is a reverse market. Sumit, you got to wait for some time, friend, if you don't mind. Let me finish and I'll give you answers for all of these questions, if you don't mind, because it's going to be an interruption from what I'm saying, but there is no difference unless you say part-time versus full-time. If you're saying part-time, it's of no use because it's not a program that is 3 years, etc. kind of things. If it's a full-time, that's exactly, whether it's PGDM, MBA, it's various names given to people. Probably I should have talked about that also, but I'll talk about it. What I'm trying to say here is, coming back to CAT or coming back to India, it's a very good position because people look at it. Just 1 second, friends, if you don't mind. As I said, so therefore, the CAT takers have declined in India very funnily, actually, I would say. When things are going bad, people should do more MBA, but that's not what is happening. When things are going good, people will unfortunately leave their jobs and do an MBA. Here is where you need to reskill yourself, and at least now, at least in the next 2-3 years, the chance of getting into an MBA is far higher, especially even in the IIMs. The key parameters that we are trying to understand about how IIM select: one, clearly the CAT score, close to 35 to 55% is on that. Second, interview, again 35 to 45% is that. Please understand, what you have done in the past is not as important as what you will do from now till the CAT exam as such, and after the CAT exam, the interview preparation. There are institutes like IIM Bangalore, IIM Shillong, IIM Ahmedabad this year have picked up and given more weightage to 10th, 12th mark, or even IIM Indore, even before they send you a interview call letter. Notwithstanding these 3 or 4 institutes, every other institute, both IIMs and non-IIMs, private and non-private, look at the CAT score. Once you get the CAT score, it is the interview, because that itself will give you close to 70 to 100% in some of these institutes, some of these schools. Written essay is another thing which you will see, which probably you will have to look at. Just 1 second, friends. In fact, there used to be a time when most of the IIMs used to take up GD interviews, group discussion, just group discussions, and then after that interviews. Some of these guys have converted. Of course, there are institutes which continue to take GD, including XLRI, but a lot of the IIMs have shifted to a written essay kind of thing. Weightage for the written essay, ability to write, is 10 to 15%. Academic profile, of course, also makes some. Couple of exceptions are there which don't look at this, but weightage is 5 to 10%. I already told you work experience is important, but partially about 5 to 10% or 6 to 10% in most of the IIMs. In other words, what we are talking about is, now look at it, what can you change? You can change, you cannot change academic profile, that's 5%. Either you have work experience or you don't have work experience. You can't change that either. But you can change your CAT score or improve that. You can improve your interview. You can improve your written essay. And if you add these up, a minimum of 80 to 85% of your final selection is based on these 3 parameters. I keep saying this, the sins of the past can be erased, can be completely washed out if you plan properly. And I said, if you are a girl, you will get more percentage weightage. I said 2%, 3%. If you, diversity factors, you are a BA in psychology, you will get extra words in some of the colleges, etc. kind of things. This is how a selection really happens. We'll also look at what are the exams that are important. Lots of people are asking what are the institutes which are there in various institutes. Sumit has asked, what are the private institutes in Calcutta? Frankly speaking, the best institute in Calcutta is IIM Calcutta. The next best institute is IIFT Kolkata. I don't see there are any other good institutes in Calcutta. Probably IISWBM will come in as the next best. All others are private institutes. They are good. They are not bad. They are kind of give you. They will not come anywhere close to being in the top 40 or 50 colleges in the country as such. While you want, maybe you want to be in Calcutta, but I would say if you want to do an MBA, typically get out. You will see this institute. Let's look at IIMs. It is included along with the interview, Nitish. It is at the time of the interview it is conducted. Except for XLRI where it is at the time of the written test. Look at this, apart from the IIMs, look at SPJN. SPJN is in Bombay. MDI is in Gurgaon, Delhi. FMS is in Delhi. NITI is in Bombay. XLRI again, I'll leave it. Then again, if you talk about symbiosis colleges, all are in Pune. IIFT down below, others when you say it, it's in Delhi. NMIMS, NMAT, when you write it, it is through in NMIMS is Narsi Monji Institute. It's in Bombay. So typically, friends, if you understand, if you want to do an MBA, typically it should be in a place where there is lots of industry. Now the best three places in the country to do are Bombay, Delhi, and Bangalore. Bangalore now has SIBM Bangalore, NMIMS Bangalore, Wellinkar Bangalore, of course IIM Bangalore, Christ College, and so many other institutes too. Not really, again, Christ will not be in the top 30 all right. But again, I'm saying, if you look at the top 30, 40, it's either the IIMs, XLRI kind of colleges, or they are there in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore kind of colleges. And hence, probably, friends, those of you are in Calcutta, etc., maybe want to come out of it is the best time to do, right? So these are, so when you prepare for an exam like CAT, you are not just writing CAT, you probably write other exams like XAT, Xavier's Aptitude Test, SNAP, Symbiosis National Aptitude Test, NMAT, IIFT, CMAT, TIFF, APMA, MAT, whatever numbers. All of them have same areas which are asked. 8th, 9th, 10th class math, English, reasoning, data interpretation. That's the beauty of this exams. I told you in the very beginning, those who have heard me, anybody can do an MBA. And if anybody can do an MBA, therefore the written test should also be the ability, or the person who should write, anybody should be able to write this. The only reason why anybody can write it is because the exam is of 8th, 9th and 10th standard. Not necessarily the difficulty level, but the areas at least are exactly those. We'll talk about it in a minute, in a couple of minutes from now. This is about CAT. That's the reason why I wanted to first discuss CAT and then we go into the test preparation. This is purely on CAT I'm going to discuss and look at how easy it is or difficult it is. CAT 2015 had 3 sections. Quantitative section, which is, I told you, 8th, 9th and arithmetic, algebra, pure maths. 34 questions were there, 60 minutes were given to you. Each question carried 3 marks, out of which about 10 questions did not have negative marks also. Section 2, data interpretation and logical reasoning. 32 questions, out of which 8 of them did not have negative marks. Only 24 of them had negative marks. 1/3 negative that way. Section 3, verbal ability and reading comprehension. Again 34 questions. Total 100 questions. Each question carried 3 marks. This is important to understand. The total paper was for 300 marks. And you will be surprised what marks are required to get into an IIM. 300 marks. To get into an IIM like IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, these are top 3 IIMs where the average salaries at the end of 2 years will be in the 17-18 lakh range. Average salaries. Best salaries will be in the 30-40 lakh range. Worst salaries are still in the 12-13 lakh range. The worst means the bottom most. Even the new IIMs, The worst salaries will be in the 8 to 12 lakh range, 8 to 10 lakh range. The best will be again 18 to 25 lakh range. For 100 questions or 300 marks to get into the best institutes in the country, what you will see is going to zap you if you do not know this. Look at what I am showing. To get into an IIM, you need 97 percentile. You need 97 percentile. And 97 percentile, friends, is 156.5 marks. 96 point something actually this year if you're talking about the new IIMs. Half the score of 300. For areas which you would have done before in your life. Not that you are learning something completely new. To get into the top institutes, you probably need about 180 marks, like IIM Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta types. If you want to get into the next best private colleges like SP Jain, IMT, Ghaziabad, etc., you will probably need only about 123 marks. If you are an NCOBC, you will still need about 125, 130 marks to get into the best institutes, including the top IIMs, provided you, of course, you have basics of 10th, 12th marks. If you are an SC, to get into the top IIMs, you need just about 101, 102 marks plus. Of course, you should also get the minimum percentile in all the three sections too. And if you are by any chance a scheduled tribe candidate, and nothing wrong with being whatever you are, you will probably need just about 83, 84 marks out of 300, mind you. Those of you who are general category students, yes, you need about 150, 160 marks out of 300. Please understand that, but the rules of the game are clear. You know the rules of the game. You need to know how much you need to study to get there. Simple. But the fact of the matter is very simple. Lots of people don't even write CAT because they think it is extremely difficult. If only they knew that, boss, it is not, even if it is difficult, you need to get only 50, 60% of the mark to get into the best institutes. To get into the 50th ranked institute, boss, you need only about, even for a general category student, about 100 marks. All the IIMs will not have the same value. It will change. For example, IIM Ahmedabad will have 99.6 for a general category. For a woman, it will be 99.2. For IIM Calcutta, it is 99.6, 9.65. For IIM Bangalore, it could be 98. For IIM Lucknow, it is 97 point something. For IIM Shillong, it is 98 point something. Each one institute, but all the new IIMs will be in the 97, 96.2 plus percentile. All the new IIMs. Again, institute by institute it changes, but all I'm saying is, boss, at the end of the day, you don't need to IIM Ahmedabad, fair enough, but you can get into the other ones. This is the truth. This is real marks, not, plucked up from anywhere in the world. These are exact marks that students have got this year. Talk to students who have got into the IIMs, you will figure out what I'm trying to say. And that is because people are a little afraid of this exam. People don't even realize that they can get there. And that's the reason why people don't even attempt it in the first place. The reason why we believe that IIMs are very much in your grasp and therefore you need to write this exam called CAT or any other exam is because of the nature of this exam. It is not a test of memory, but it's a test of skill. And skills, whether it is table tennis, cricket, swimming, or any skill for that matter, can be developed if you practice. How do you prepare for this? You need to have basic sound fundamentals. There is no doubt about it in that. You need to have fundamentals, and that fundamentals can be learnt over a period of 3-4 months, which is what I'm going to talk to you about, how to prepare also. The next, you need to have loads of practice. A balanced preparation. Why is it balanced? What I'm saying? You don't only do quantitative ability if you are interested in that, or you do not like verbal ability. You only do, verbal ability. Doesn't make sense. 3 marks per question, Nitish. 100 questions, 3 marks per question makes it 300. Balanced preparation is because you don't do only things which you like. You do anything which is required to be done, all the areas. we believe you need a smart approach to your planning also. Obviously, you need to take a lot of mock tests, take feedback, and try to adapt to the exam scenario. If the pitch is bad, you need to change your batting track. As simple as that. If the pitch is a flat pitch, like in cricket, you need to kind of really go for runs. You need to change according to what the pitches are. Therefore, writing a lot of mock tests will give you that freedom or understanding of what you should do. And last but not the least, of course, we believe that you need to get some kind of a right guidance, whether it is Sachin Tendulkar, Roger Federer, Sania Mirza, Saina Nehwal, or whoever you can think of, individual or a group requires guidance. We believe that everybody can do it on their own, but when you get the guidance, that that the small shift, the kind of at the right time when you need that push, you will get it. One more thing for guidance is when you are losing your concentration or losing your preparation methods, there is somebody who is there to tell you, hey friend, where are you going? Or you can come back to ask people saying that, boss, I am losing my concentration or my interest. Can you please spend time with me, kind of thing. That is the reason why guidance is required. And of course, a bit of luck. We believe that if you want to prepare for CAT 2016, the 8 months that is available, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, is more than sufficient for you to get there. And I have planned it as 3 levels: opening moves, first 3 months, middle game, ideally 2 to 3 months, depending on when you start off, and the last end game, last 2 months. If the exam is in end of November, you still have a luxury of 15-20 days to start off. But I am saying the day you decide that you want to do an MBA, the day you decide that your aspiration is an IIM or an XLRI or an FMS, you start that day. There is no tomorrow. There is nobody who has seen tomorrow. What do you do in the initial stages? Every area, let's say quant, look at every chapter, understand every topic within it, every concept within that topic, and therefore solve exercises understanding the concepts. What are the areas in math? Arithmetic, algebra, numbers, geometry, and pure maths. And within pure maths, there are 3-4 areas like permutations and combinations, basics of probability, functions and graphs, and a little bit of trigonometry. Little bit of trigonometry which you have done in your 10th class, mind you, not your 11th and 12th. Data interpretation, what is there? Charts. Various types of charts. You need to know what types of questions have come in charts and how do you solve them. What are the kind of charts which have come in the CAT exam or any of these exams? There are tables, the bar charts, pie charts, line charts, spider graphs, triangle graphs, and various miscellaneous. Some of it you have seen them in your school, 8th, 9th, and 10th. A lot of them will be there in your newspapers if you really open any business newspaper, Business Today, Business Standard, Economic Times, the Mint. All these things are given to you. You need to interpret it and solve the questions. How do you do this? It will take you 2 to 3 months to get there. Similarly, English. You need to know your grammar, improve your vocabulary, probably in the next 3 months improve about 500 words to your diction, increase your reading speed. Again, if you have 3 months, that is 90 days, you can improve whatever level you are. You are at 150 words per minute, 100, 200, 120 words per minute, increase on a regular basis to make it to 250 words per minute. The idea is first 3 months, you are in the process of improving yourself. Solve a lot of verbal ability, reading comprehension exercises to make sure that this vocab, grammar, and reading speed increase on a regular basis. Then lastly, reasoning, puzzles, Venn diagrams, cubes, arrangement, distribution network, various kinds of things which come in. The only way you can do it is by solving probably 1 exercise a week. Over the next 12 weeks, 12 exercises you solve, at least you get to know every type of question that can come in. That's the plan. What do you do what is the reason for the middle game? Once you finish the basics 1 round of 2-3 months, the next thing is getting more and more familiarity with the pitch. What is the pitch that I'm talking about? The exam itself and the type of questions. This is the most important part of preparation. People, first whenever you join, today you are very, very enthusiastic. Yeah, ARKS has said that CAT I can do. So you will feel very good about it. The problem is, this is there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then after that, it fizzles out. The idea is never let it fizzle out. In fact, the most important time is the middle game. It's like even if you look at a cricket match, the most important time is the 10, overs to the 35 overs, 35, 40 overs. The initial and the final or anyway everybody looks at it, but what happens in the middle game is what is going to make you win or lose, really that much. So it's the most important part of your preparation, and you don't lose focus. You revise every chapter, every topic, every concept, and do a lot more exercises. This, for example, March, April, May, you finish. By end of May or middle of June, you finish your basics. June, July, August is where you redo these things once more, so that you are absolutely ready for the final push into the exam. This is also the time when you start taking the mock CATs. We call in VistaMind, these are smart CATs. Obviously, very similar to the actual CAT exam. One more thing what is important at this stage is to start experimenting on how you write the test. There are 60 minutes already, but how do you use the 60 minutes? How do you start? What kind of questions do you start? Should you spend 2 minutes every time, or should you spend half a minute every question, read all questions first, whatever. There are hundreds of ideas. You need to experiment on them. Look at what is right for you. A senior would have told you this is right, but that may not be perfect for you. You need to figure out for yourself what you are. We will give you enough ideas, but what clicks for you is only when you implement that. And last comes the end game, the last 2 months of your exam, where the target in the 2 months is you should have done 2 revisions by then. You should have familiar with most of the questions in the mocks. You would have improved your, by the way, reading speed, calculation, vocab is a continuous matter. While I'm saying it, you improve in the first 3 months, it will continue in the next 3 months too. But the last 2 months is purely for mocks and analysis. Mocks, analysis, feedback, redoing things, once again writing mocks. Writing the smart catch, analysis of each mock return, and ensuring that you don't make the same mistake twice. You can make new mistakes, all right, but you don't make the same mistake twice. Okay, that's by and large, friends, what I feel there are 2 things which I told you. One, if you're interested in MBA, because there is no other time but today to start or tomorrow at the best. Second, even if you are talking about you're busy, the beauty of our online classes is that it is in the night at 9:30, as you can see right now. You come back from your college, you come back from your office, when you are sitting, you can open your laptop, sit, you can have your dinner while you're doing, we will solve the questions for you, you will solve in front of us. That 2 hours that you sit in front of the computer in the night, it becomes a habit. Somebody is pushing you to do it, consistency to do it on a regular basis, and that is what makes it probably worth all its while. And you will have your weekends for yourself, those of you are working. You don't have to go to a school. I'm not saying don't go to a class. We also have classroom classes. But if you don't want to go to class and use that time for revision or reading something, catching up on everything else, you can still do that. That's one of the reasons why we are very heavily promoting our online courses too, because it is exactly what we will do. Like the PPT that I've used, we will use PPTs, and if you have a decent connection, boss, there is no better way to learn. And if you have a team like what I have. My name is ARKS. I'm an IIM Calcutta graduate, engineer in electronics and communication. For the last 18 years I've been training. In fact, 20 years I've been training right from an MBA. I graduated in 1997. Started teaching even before I went to IIM Calcutta for an MBA entrance itself. While in Calcutta, I started teaching for Shrinivas in IMC in Calcutta. Joined as a part-timer, first part-timer for an institute, I don't know how many of you know, called TIME. I was the All India CAT director for TIME for 5 years, and then TIME Mumbai director, center director there, handling more than 15,000 students. Started VistaMind 3.5 years back, along with a team of wonderful people. As you can see, Nishant is my colleague. I am co-code 13 plus experts. Each one of them have taught hundreds of students. Literally thousands of students. Rahul is my classmate from IIM Calcutta. Raghunath sir sits in Chennai, teaches morning, evening, night across the country. I mean, through online with our VistaMind kind of thing. Suchitra ma'am, English, she teaches. A. Shrinivas is my colleague, executive assistant to myself. I am Indore graduate. Geeta Shah sits at Mysore, center head of Mysore, but online available. Ankuran, center director of Calcutta, I am Bangalore, again available. Sapna sits in Chennai. Madhuri has been teaching for more than 15 years in CAT. I mean, the kind of team that I have with extreme experience about CAT, the exam, and more importantly, training. Both, all these guys have been training online. Take feedback from the students who have taken, saying that, look, probably you will get the best faculty sitting anywhere in the country. You may be in Cal, you may be in Agartala, you may be in Timbuktu, it doesn't matter. This is the team which is going to train you for the next 8 months. In addition, not just CAT, we train you for group discussions, interviews. Group discussions as a broad idea, but interviews, written test, all the general awareness that is required, economics, name it, we kind of make sure that you are absolutely prepared for this exam and aftermath of the exam too. Why more VistaMind? We ensure that every handout that we give you or every class that we give you is completely based on CAT and that other questions. Smart cats are going to be prepared by us, these trainers, not just people who only make questions. These people, all of these guys write CAT every year and make sure that you get this. Out of the 20 marks that we give, some of them are done directly. In fact, not even by discussions by directors. I do almost 7 of them myself. The original, I mean, absolute test taking strategies for each of the smart cats. Study material to a large, we have revamped. There have been complaints with our students that some of the course material over the last couple of years has not been great. This year's material is completely revamped to reflect the real questions. A new upgraded version, I can say it. It's kind of a marketing jargon, of course. Tons of online sectional tests to make sure that you are ready for the exam. And the most important thing that we do, apart from everything else that you will get, is mentorship at every step. We at VistaMind want to be #1 in the next 5 years, guys, both online and offline. And we can assure you, wherever you are in the country and the world for that matter, we are there with you through online, WhatsApp, mails, phones, whenever you require it. And that's the key and that's the strength that we have. What programs do we have? We have full-time programs in all centers. We have 20 centers, 11 cities for the moment. We are the only one who has a complete online full-time program, about 100 classes, including of course GD's interviews, but 100 odd classes. Every day we do these classes almost. Smart cats, 20 of them, more than sufficient for you to prepare for it with discussions, about 8 of them with discussions. Workshops plus smart cat program also we have later on for people who have written CAT once, twice, thrice. But here is where my only thought is, even if you have written CAT once, even if you are writing for the first time, the idea of joining a class is not just because you will get good training, which you will anyway get. It's consistency, continuity, and mentorship at every very single level. That's what makes it very important for you. These are my numbers. My name is ARKS, I said, ARKS@VistaMind.com. My executive assistant, I told you, is also the online product CAT head, Shrinivas, A.Srinivas. Both of us are Srinivas incidentally. Different email IDs, different numbers. Please look at it. We will ensure that we will be there for you to help you out on a regular basis. Right? So that's it for us guys. For me guys, I'll answer all the questions. I'll stop the recording for the moment. And if any questions you have, you can write to me at arks@VistaMind.com or send it to a.srinivas@VistaMind.com. WhatsApp me on my numbers that are given to you at the end. It'll definitely help you. Okay. For the moment, thank you, but don't go away. Any questions you have, you can ask. I'm just